Your child was injured by a vaccine.
Breaking news. Some mothers are stupid. Bobby's anecdotal evidence regarding some mothers making idiotic faceless claims about vaccines is totally worth more than the entire body of global scientific research, you guys. Unreal.
President Trump believes that we should be listening to people instead of gaslighting and
Said the gaslighting assholes or marginalizing the entire legitimate scientific community by spreading and legitimizing pseudoscience while cutting funding for real science and firing anyone who complies with it.
Some of our friends like to say that we should believe for women. And some of these same people have been silenced in these colors for decades. Because research on potentially causes of vaccines past. It will take time for an honest look at this nothing by scientists.
Nope, not suppressed, just non-existent. And this attempt at accusing scientists of misogyny because they promote science denial makes you an even bigger shit than Speaking of police, it's time for Jay Bhattacharya.
Signs like this conduct positive communication. The best way to progress in the virtual Autism spectrum disorder encompasses a very wide range of mild difficulties, social interactions, profound autistic it is a wide range of symptoms across the spectrum. It seems certain that there will be a wide range of virologists and contributors to explain the cause.
Does it seem certain, Jay? Is it certain that there are a wide range of contributors? If something exists on a spectrum, it has to have multiple causes. How about one cause with varying levels of prominence? No, haven't thought of that? Let's look at a bunch of people with sunburns. Some are just a little burned, some have it a bit worse, and some have it really, really bad. 3 levels of burn, just like autism. There must be multiple causes for the burn then, right, Jay? It can't just have to do with being exposed to the sun for different amounts of time. What sense does that make?
The sharp rise in levels of autism is nerve and urgent response by the community. The problem said the NIH has invested a lot of money to study autism here, but the research is not producing answers that families, parents, and children.
What answers do they deserve, Jay? The buffet of lies that this administration is serving up? Is that what they deserve? Is this really?
The law has been taboo to ask dumb questions for fear the scientific work might reveal a political perspective.
What the fuck would be politically incorrect about Tylenol causing autism? You're acting like you're proposing that being around black people gives you autism. It's a fucking drug. There's nothing political here except for the politics that you are promoting. An atmosphere of delusion, disinformation, and panic.
Because of this restricted focus in scientific investigations, the answers for families have been similarly restricted, often pointing families to behavioral therapies that don't work for every kid, or suggest non-modifiable genetic factors. This alone can't explain the sharp rise in autism prevalence.
Well, for the 100th time, there is no sharp rise in autism prevalence, only diagnosis. Sorry, it is genetics. And you're crapping on behavioral therapies, which are massively helpful in aiding autistic youth. Great job, asshole. Speaking of assholes, it's time for party with here.
This is the start of a historic shift in medicine. This administration is working together to ask big questions about why our native children are getting sick so fast.
Yeah, it's the biggest shift we've ever seen, from respectable scientists doing respectable science to the most disgraceful roster of science-denying asshats that modern society has ever seen. It's a circus sideshow. Why are kids getting sick so fast? Well, they weren't, but they will now, thanks to the policies of this administration. I wonder what will say when that starts happening. Probably Obama's fault.
Stevie kids autism, severe autism, it's kind of watch. The kids get frustrated, they get angry, they crying because they want to speak, but they can't speak. It's hard to watch.
And what percentage of autistic kids are like that? And what does high-functioning autism look like? And how does pointing at the existence of severe autism substantiate any of your bullshit claims? These are all rhetorical questions, so I know for a fact that you don't know the answers.
Today, the FDA is taking action to update the label on acetaminophen.
and sending a letter to all U.S. doctors letting them know about the risks of pregnancy. We now have data we cannot ignore.
No, we have no conclusive data. We need more research without a political agenda, since it's an exceptionally complex problem that will take decades to address properly. You're just desperate for a simple solution to a complex problem because you made an empty promise to your constituents. Forcing a change on Tylenol labels is just an empty gesture to make it seem like you're doing anything important, instead of just wasting enormous amounts of taxpayer dollars to pick up birds and send them to real doctors as though they should be grateful for that.
A study out of Hopkins actually showed that treating a fever can prolong the duration of illness in a young kid. Maybe that's because a fever is a body's natural way of ridding an infection.
Holy shit, this asshole went to medical school? First of all, a fever can be dangerous, especially in infants, but more importantly, why can't these jerks get their story straight? Why are you talking about Tylenol as administered to a child? Are we talking about embryonic development or not? Your whole thing is supposed to be that Tylenol is bad for trouble because the brain of the fetus is developing. It's probably wrong, but it could at least be regarded as a plausible proposition without looking at all the data that contains. Can't you at least make more bullshit narrative? Every time you pivot to Tylenol being administered to children, you're just making it even more clear that there is zero substance to your rhetoric. Are you saying that a 10-year-old child can take Tylenol and magically become autistic? If not, then what the fuck are you saying?
When my wife was pregnant and delivered our son a few months ago, they pushed her to take acetaminophen for a low-grade fever. She said no, and then they looked to me and I said, absolutely no.
No way, Jose. Get those dirty pills away from my wife. And guess what? After she didn't take Tylenol, our kid isn't autistic. So Tylenol causes autism. Case closed. What a chode. Speaking of chodes, it's time for Dr. Oz, the piece of shit quack who lied on TV a bunch to make money. Hawking miracle cures and bogus supplements made this fraud rich, so now he's here to save American children for only 4 easy payments of $19.99.
The FDA, based on NIH research, is a reward for treatment of autistic children. The aggressive approach and anti-aggressive demanded by the President and by the Secretary have only identified risk factors that open the door for the first FDA recognized treatment pathway.
Lucas Warren does not treat autism, it treats folate deficiency. Some autism have called folate deficiency. This drug treats that and consistently from a handful of people that did not properly that is all. If it helps anyone, that's great. This drug does not in any way address the underlying cause of autism, and no drug ever will because drugs can't change your brain structure. Glucocorn does not meet standards for FDA approval, and the administration is just ramming it through anyway. This is nothing but false hope from a panel of clowns.
The fivefold increased prevalence of autism over the past 25 years demands a rapid response. The average clinician, researcher, many studies take 5 years to get to this. Unwilling to wait 5 years. The President is unwilling to wait 5 years for these results. So the President and Secretary acting today with this fraud agency move.
Again, there is no five-fold increase of autism prevalence, and you're point-blank admitting corruption across the market without stopping happening in the free world. Anyway, now it's time to let some random this mom's talk, because hearing sob stories about isn't our next minute, and it only validates all the lies they just went right? We're going to skip all that because it's genuinely pointless. Speaking of genuinely pointless, Trump gets back up and fucking lunatic, reiterating all the same crap he already spewed over and over and over again, and fumbling it just as badly the second time around.
I just recommend strongly if you don't use Tylenol, don't take Tylenol. Don't take it, don't take Tylenol. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol.
But it's all justified.
You know, I'm just making these statements from me. I'm not making them from these doctors because, you know, they talk about, you know, different results, different studies. I talk about it. They have that.
That's right. Trump's a mega genius doesn't need studies and knowledge. It's all common sense. Everything explains it. The sense he needs. Actually, it's the precise opposite, since virtually nothing in science would qualify as common sense. It's common sense that everything flows from the earth, and yet it can't. We figure that out by gathering data. There's nothing about the behavior of molecules, the nature of the fundamental forces, or anything else in modern science that can be judged by common sense. That's not what science is, and anyone who doesn't understand that is but just deciding what he wants to be true and relentlessly referring to it as is what got this journal started. I'm sure as shit isn't going to stop now. Medical science conducts studies of statistical analysis replicating
And again!
it advances by rejecting the notion that unpersonal information can somehow outweigh empirical data. But Trump likes to go with his gut, no matter how bloated and grotesque it becomes. How could that go wrong?
Don't take Tylenol. There's no downside. Don't take it.
Dr. Trump says there's no downside, except of course in cases where it's that's quite a downside. And again, because this piece of shit is shouting this so emphatically, there are pregnant women who will refuse antipyretics, and these bad things will happen. When you lie about medical science, people get hurt, and none of these assholes give a shit about it.
And you know, we have something else called favored nations. We're going to be reducing drug prices by 1,000%, by 900, 600, 500, 1,200. We're going to be reducing drug prices at levels never seen. It's called favored nations.
Hey, dumbass, it's physically impossible to reduce something by 1,000%. If you reduce it by 100%, it's gone. Reducing the cost of anything by 100% would mean that it's free. So what the fuck is 1,000% reduction? You'll give it away for free and also give them 10 times the cash value of the drug industry? Donald, you genuinely are so fucking stupid that it blows my mind. People in the future will look back on this time and marvel at how the American people let such a bloated, brain-dead kid into the political office.
Look at people in this country running for
Unreal. Let's see if we can win.
Of what? Hands on the office instead.
And that's one of the priorities that has been promoted by the industry for many years. It's checked diagnostic criteria, their recognition. But there's been study after study on it and
That debunks what fucking tool? Are you saying that diagnostic criteria have not changed? Because yes, they fucking have. Make it good, Bobby.
one by the findings of this research and public. Of course, it's just public sense. Because you only see this. I don't recognition. I've never seen this. And just happening. I've never seen a case of having found autism to be very careful. And bagging, standing, talking, on the phone, I've never
So you cite a random singular study and refuse to elaborate in any way, and then you jump on the Donald Trump common sense bandwagon, which is useless when you're a fucking idiot without enough common sense to see that this is all just changes in diagnostic criteria. But you guys, Bobby doesn't know any old autistic people, and he knows everyone in the world, so there are officially no old autistic people, except for the 1.5 million American senior citizens with autism, along with all the elderly who are undiagnosed, because when they were kids, that wasn't the thing that happened. Fuck you, Bobby.
There's a statement that was put out by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and in their statement, they write, as a state trust hospital to pregnancy, and that's at odds with what you said and what many of the experts say. How do you
the establishment. That's the establishment. They're funded by lots of different groups. And you know what? Maybe they're right. I don't think they are.
They're the establishment? You're the fucking president. You're the establishment. They're funded by lots of different groups. Is that supposed to be an argument?